Now we looked at Veto and Fauna, we've now got to look at Lich and RHYA. Also, Lich is apparently going to be coming in his own. Interesting. Either way, and by the way, it is smart on why they did that. I get why they did that. But we're now going to be talking on the second half of the pickup banner. One thing to also mention, obviously with the rates, one thing I forgot to mention, because there's two characters on the pickup banner, when you do hit Pity, it's a 50-50 chance to get either. So if you hit Pity, thinking that you can pick one, I'm sorry. You're going to have to hope and pray that the 50% RNG is in your favor. Anyway, let's dive on it. Alright, we're going to start with the beautiful man, Lich himself, of course. So, with his first attack, of course, one thing which I will say straight off the bat, Lich is a crit machine. There you go. So with his first skill, single target, attacks after granting a increased crit rate buff of a level 3, which is a 22% increase on his crit. Oh, wait, hold on a minute, can that go up? Oh no, so if you upgrade the skill 1, it's just buffing up the attack side of things, very nice. Second skill, single target once again, however, you're giving yourself a level 2 crit rate buff, which is 18%, and you're also giving yourself a defense penetration level 2, which is ignoring 20% of the enemy's defense. There, and then deals damage, so that penetration will come into effect to get 20% off with your initial attack, which is beautiful. And then upgrading it once again, the damage buff is there. Ultimate, it's AoE of course. Once again, you're giving yourself a crit rate buff for level 3, which is 22%, so you guys are starting to see where the crit machine term comes into place. When it comes to Lich with a random character, it's single target. He's granted himself a 30% increased damage buff if the enemy is taking continuous damage, so there's a little bit of a stipulation on that part. If you are pairing him up with RHYA, which is what you want to do, it is AoE and you're giving yourself a defense pen of 20%. Now I'll come back to that because it's the combination skill with RHYA and Lich is what is so broken and devastating. When it comes to the LR passive, when HP is below 30%, it grants immortality for 1 turn once per battle. So of course common in clutch, so that way you're not initially dying as soon as possible. You can get that one last hit in, one last crit hit in of course, before it's a GG unfortunately. And then the LR passive is crit damage plus 10%. Now one thing which I forgot to mention on the Veto and RHYA, we do not know on whether or not if you max out these pickup either Midnight Suns characters, if their final dupe passive is buffing up their crit damage or if it's going to be an extra bonus. So that's something to kind of think of also, which of course once we get the news I'll make a video on and we'll look further more into it. But again, knowing that he's a crit machine, you want to build crit damage, non-stop crit damage on this man. So to have a passive or a dupe passive where it's providing that crit damage, it's giving that big incentive to get that in. And then when it comes to his Grimoire, you're gonna love this one. It's again in favor for the attackers. It applies 7 to 15% increased damage and 7% increased crit rate. So it's basically 2 Grimoires in one, realistically. So very, very nice to have. Now if you do manage to get it and apply it onto Lich himself, on his second skill, whilst he's doing increased crit rate damage as well as defense pen, he then gives himself inflicts a buff block on an enemy for 2 turns upon landing a crit. Of course he's going to land a crit, and once that crit lands in, they can't be buffed, so it is pretty much open business of whooping ass. Alright, and that is very nice to have against bosses, I will say, in the PvE department. So that's the initial build for Lich, and I will say, I'm sure most of you guys are already seeing that obviously this Lich is coming across as an amazing green attacker. That is truly the case. Let's now dive into RHYA. So RHYA, another green attacker. So when it comes to his first skill, he is by the way copying Yami. He's a copycat, so you guys know that. So with his first skill, of course, AoE, again copying Yami's skill. If a buff is present on the character RHYA, he gains an extra attack dealing 30% equal to 30% of his own attack and magic attack to an enemy. I kind of scoffed that reading, but pretty much as long as there's a buff you get an extra attack off, which is nice. It is beautiful. And plus his damage output, this man can actually nuke, I will say that right now. First skill is single target. If the enemy has any buffs, well, you can copy 2 of them. So in boss situations and whatnot, including even in PvP, if there's enemies that, I don't know, stacking up on Fortify, counterattack, he can just completely nab him. It's his now. So he's keeping what's true to the character with the copy. So you love to see it. Then the ultimate, which is single target. If 2 or more active buffs are present, yes, that is right, you perform a extra attack, which is 70% of attack and magic attack as extra damage. So pretty much buffs on RHYA just makes him absolutely cracked out. You can pretty much double up on his ultimate, and if you attack boost him, that's where the nuking will come into play. Attacks after granting a 15% increased damage dealt buff for each active buff. Yeah, so you guys can see this ultimate is the definition of nuking. Give him all the buffs with the attack up from Sally. I think right now Sally's kind of like the perfect prime character to kind of get the attack buffs for nuking. Overall, RHYA is just absolutely insane as an attack on that part. And then of course when it comes to, oh wait, I forgot to do the combo. So combination, it is a Wii without Lich, sorry. If a buff is present on self, attacks after granting a 15% increased damage dealt buff. Not too bad, without RHYA of course. I mean Lich, goddammit. And then with Lich, attacks after copying 1 buff of the partnered mage. Keep in mind that 1 buff more than likely will be crit rate, because Lich has already given him a ton of crit rate boost, right? And then attacks after granting the partnered mage and self an increased all attack of level 2. Increased all attack by 40%. Then you copy Lich's crit rate. It is a GG at that point. When Lich's and RHYA's combination attack first came out for JP and KR, it was broken. It was meta AF. Everyone to anyone was running this combination. It was insane. And it's fair to say on global, it's going to be the same thing. It's going to run meta. When it comes to the LR passive, grants HP recovery equal to 15% of max HP when a buff expires, once per wave, not too bad. And then the dupe grants 2.5 increased attack when the buff expires, stacks up to 3 times. Alright, so that's kind of where we're looking at with RHYA itself. So, oh wait, I forgot the Greymore. I'm getting ahead of myself. So his Greymore, at the start of the turn, if there are at least 3 buffs affecting you, gain 30 to 62% increased accuracy for 1 turn. And then what will happen is on his second skill, whilst he's copying 2 buffs, he also removes 2 buffs from the enemy. So insult to injury right there, you gotta love it. So overall, I mean, with this Greymore for RHYA, I'll say it's more in line to actually benefit him. Universally wise, it's, I mean, well, if you need that increased accuracy, it's there as an option. But I mean, I do prefer Lich's Greymore, just because of how it's kind of combining 2 Greymores in one, of course, so you gotta love that. But overall, I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet with you boys. Lich and RHYA are basically 2 of the green attacking metas. Obviously the blue meta right now, it is you know, taking PvP by storm. When Lich and RHYA drop, they are pretty much going to be the forefront of decimating. And if you do the combination AoE attack from both of these boys, more than likely you're able to one-shot. So once again, when it comes to the Veto and Fauna banner, I did say that with this banner you might want to skip it. If you do choose to summon, Fauna is going to be the one that you want to go for. But realistically, if you had to pick your choice, it's really going to be the green meta banner that you want to go with. Now, obviously, Season 2 Noelle does come along and she does kind of ruin things. But as of right now, when these boys drop, they're going to be meta. And even in the PvE side of things, these boys are just absolutely insane and cracked out with the power that they hold, and with how they can help you out with farming in general and with future events that are going to be releasing. They're just 2 of the best top green attacking units to have. So obviously with this pickup banner, if you do want to save for the Season 2, if that's what you're kind of leaning towards, because I know some people just really want their broken characters, that's completely fine. But when it comes to the Either Midnight Suns, if you really wanted to decide on which band to go for and which character to look out for, obviously Lich and RHYA, those are going to be the bands that you want to aim for. And I think RHYA might be the better choice because of the power that man holds, and that how he is a designated character needed for a certain mission within the game in order for you to progress and actually, you know, gain materials and premium currency and whatnot. But Lich himself is not bad either, of course. Again, if you want to invest into duping them out, I mean, it's not a bad idea. But those boys themselves, without the dupes, can pretty much hold their own. I mean, obviously it does help them out in the department of allowing them to do more damage, because that's how they cater to it, with crit damage. And then of course with RHYA, I believe it's more in, if I can remember actually, I think it's 2.5% on, yeah, increased attack when the buff expires, of course. So damage buffs with the passes themselves, but I mean they're more than capable enough of doing the work without it, of course. But either way, I just quickly wanted to get it out of the way to say that the Lich and RHYA banner does have a lot of value on it with the characters themselves. Again, when they drop, they are the green meta characters, so the blue meta will be put on hold, and PvE wise they hold a lot of value. RHYA can nuke together. The combination attacks that these guys hold with AoE power just completely obliterates a lot of PvE content if you're trying to grind certain stages and whatnot. So as I've aforementioned, as I said beforehand, with your currency there's value within their pickup banner. So if I had to pick, it will be the Lich and RHYA banner to aim for over the Veto and Fauna banner. But if I had to rank them, RHYA number 1, Lich number 2, Fauna number 3, Veto number 4. That's how I would personally rate them. But realistically, the attacking characters being RHYA, Lich and Fauna are just really good. And then Veto is just like, hey guys, I mean I would have loved to be an attacking unit, but I'm just here. So yeah, hopefully this gives you guys a good idea on whether or not if you guys want to go for the either Midnight Suns characters. Again, it's a pickup banner, so these characters will be available in overall banners going forward, like in seasonal banners and other pickup banners. So if you guys want to play the long wait game, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, they are the upcoming green meta characters. There you go.